and all present here today. A month ago, I was sitting in my office when suddenly the kindergarten teacher arrived with a deep concern on her face.
Sandona sibu lai sa chiki mata lawa onu vingara sa chikinya lego ka tatale kamarutaki en mata kanyo en dale ni uno no buno na man tura na tinga wale wale alo ni vino numi vi ka waitaki na yalo ni vingara en kana sungo chichiko no ma ga ni sori uli en no buno na man tura na tuina loto.
I'd like to just mention just a couple of things this morning, ladies and gentlemen. As you know that under the Bainimarama government, and of course under the Fiji First government, we placed a lot of emphasis on education. Today in Fiji, there should not be any single child that should not go to school until year 13. Right from early childhood education, year 1, year 2, all the way up to year 13. We pay the school fees of all students to go to school. We, of course, as you also know, that in class 1, we provide milk, we provide Winpix for year 1 students. It is this year's budget, which was announced just a few weeks ago, we are spending $920 million just for education. If you take out $170 million for the school rebuild, it's about close to $800 million. Now some people would say, why are we putting so much money in education? No country has ever become strong unless the people in that country are educated. You see all these children here today, they need to be educated, they need to be qualified. So when they actually leave the schooling system, they have an opportunity to get a better job. It's not just for them also, but as a country. Today in Fiji, let me give you an example, there is a shortage of, for example, good tiles people laying tiles. Good shortage of people in the construction industry. We have people today in Suva being paid $9 an hour just to lay bricks. Welders, people who do welding, are getting paid $16, $17 an hour. Because there's a shortage of people in that area. So when the economy keeps on growing, you need more and more people. We need specialization. A lot of in the medical field, we don't have a lot of specialists. That's why people say we have to go overseas. Our view is, if we spend the money now and educate our young people, we'll become a stronger country. Because they'll have jobs, we'll have the right people doing the right things, we don't have to depend on people from overseas, and we continue to grow our economy. It leads to stability. So this is why we are spending so much money in education, in investment in our people. You can invest in roads, you can invest in bridges, that's also very important, but you have to invest in our people. So education has been very much part and parcel of the Bainimarama government and of course now the Fiji First government in terms of empowering our people. The people who are here, the parents, when your children become educated and when they get the qualifications, when they get a job, it's also a support for you. If your child is earning well, they'll support you. They'll come and contribute to the village, they'll come and contribute to the house. So this is very important, this is how we view education. The second thing, of course, is that the part and parcel of this is just to simply empower ordinary Fijians. As I'm speaking today, in about half an hour's time, the Honorable Prime Minister is actually in Rasa at the moment, giving out a bonus of almost over $1 million to the landowners who grow pine on their land. This has never happened before. Only in the past 4 years has it happened. And the reason why this has happened, Fiji Pine was started back in the 1970s. No landowner organization ever received bonus until the Bainimarama government, Fiji First government came into place. Good management. We appoint the right people for the right job and they do the right thing. And as a result of that, for the past 4 years continuously, all these landowners have been receiving bonuses. Those are similar types of initiatives that can also be undertaken in this part of Fiji too. You have enormous potential, you have wonderful land, wonderful soil, and there's so much potential from that. So we believe that it's part and parcel of growing the economy, of about empowering our people. There are of course schools like this, and I'm sure your head teacher has got a list of things that he wants for the school, and that we'll talk to him about it afterwards. But the other point that I also wanted to make, a lot of people sometimes outside of the towns and cities, don't know many of the policies that we have announced, they don't access those services. I'll give you one example that the Honorable Prime Minister also mentioned to us, and we found out recently. Last Saturday I was in Vanuatu, and I went to parts in Vanuatu, past Senganga, in a place called Vunabere, and over there a lot of people did not know that we in Fiji, through the government, have started what we call a pension scheme for those people who have never been part of FNPF. I know there's a lot of people who live in the villages, who have been farmers, people who have been fishermen, who lived in villages all their life. We started about 4 or 5 years ago that anybody who's never had FNPF, if they were over 70 years old, we used to give them $30 a month, because we know that they don't have any other form of income, and they are elderly. Then we reduced the age from 70 to 68, we increased the allowance to 50. But as announced in the budget, if you are 65 years old, over 65 years old, we will now give you $100 a month if you've never had FNPF. Because we know a lot of people don't have FNPF, especially the elderly people. So we believe it's your right, it's also our responsibility to look after the elderly people. We also know society is changing. Some of your children may not want to look after you. Some of them want to go and live in Suva. So the support is not there. A lot of people don't want to do the tete, and so they want to go to towns. So they leave the parents behind. And we know that as you get older, you may have more needs. You may want to buy the glasses, and other medicine or other things that you may need. So please go to the nearest social welfare office. If you're over 65 years old, and you've never had FNPF, you're entitled to $100 a month. And you'll get that allowance paid by us, beginning from 1st of August, which is just a few days ago. So there are a number of such initiatives in place. What we also want to highlight to you is that we're also changing a number of things where you'll get more benefits. But I urge you one thing, I don't want to make a long speech, I know the children get bored, and we can have a Talanoa session afterwards. You can ask me some questions if you have any queries. The one point that I want to highlight is that whenever you look at what any government is doing, or when you think about your future, we must always think long term. Don't think up to our noses. We must think long term. We must think what are the key areas that we need to invest in to be able to ensure that the economy not only grows for tomorrow, but for 5 or 10 years' time. So good governments, essentially what they do is they have certain plans. You see, for the first time in Fiji, our economy has been growing every year for the past 8 years. The reason why that is happening is because we put in place policies 3 years before that. Because we knew if we put the policy in place now, you'll have the good benefit in about 4 years' time. So I urge you to think about those things, but I'd like to have we can have a bit of I was going to say grog session, but I won't drink the grog because my brain otherwise becomes a bit numb. I have to become a bit sharp all the time. But once again for the invitation, and I'd like to wish your school all the best. I'd also like to compliment the teachers in the school, the kindergarten teacher, the head teacher. The teachers also have a very difficult role, as you know, because sometimes when we drop our children off at the school, they are the ones who train your children. They are the ones who determine what your children will be like. So they have a tough job too. Sometimes the children can be quite naughty, so I like to acknowledge them. As you know, that government, and we just announced, the teachers have got a very large pay rise too. Across the civil service, we've increased the salaries for all the civil servants. But what we're saying going forward, we want to ensure that people get pay rises based on how they perform. You know, I get a lot of complaints, the Honourable Prime Minister get a lot of complaints, other ministers get complaints that sometimes they go to different government ministries, and you see some of the civil servants, they're very, with their slack, as they say, they're not doing their job. But then there are others who are doing their job. So what we are saying going forward, after this pay rise, any pay rise should be based on how the civil servants perform. It must be performance based. We know some civil servants, they're supposed to start work at 8, they come to work at 7:30. They answer all the phone calls. They work through lunch, they work till 4:30. Some of the others, they come to work at 9 o'clock. They take 1 hour break for morning tea break, they start combing their hair at 4 o'clock to leave at 4:30. So we must change this culture. This is why it's very important, because ultimately, like myself, like the civil servants, our job is to serve you. That's why they're called civil servants, servants of the public servants. That's the role of a minister too. I'm here to serve you. So when you invite me, it's my privilege to come to you, not for you to be privileged. So thank you once again, and I look forward to talking to all of you in a lot more informal basis. Thank you.
One family from here living abroad.
Okay. Come here, then we'll see the cow.
From Wendell Campus. For the last month,
All of these areas, psychologists. So we give more scholarships for those areas.